All right, so here we are. This is our first conversation that we'll be having. Today I'm interviewing an artist she's a mother, she's a wife, she's an artist, she owns her own business, she does many of these things, and somewhere on that list is that she is also married to me. So today I will be introducing my wife, Kelly Thiel. Kelly, I'll let you kind of maybe run down some of the stuff you're into.
Oh, well, first of all, let me say thanks for having me here, letting me be your first subject.
Yes, right.
But yeah, happy to be here, happy to talk about what all has led up to this moment.
Right. So here we are, we're in Bend, Oregon, and what started this whole process is all of the fascinating people that we have met just in the 2.5 years that we've been here. So
closing in on 3.
Yeah, closing in on 3 years. Yeah, July 7th will be 3 years. So we're on our way there. And so this came about as an idea I had to just basically create an excuse to meet these people and talk to them and find out their story and find out how it is they do what they do and what brought them to where they are and what brought them to Bend and just get to know them better. So we'll start. Today we're starting with Kelly, and she's gonna, as she said, be my first subject / victim. We're also got some good coffee, a good back porch Bend, Oregon coffee.
Handmade
that always
mugs.
helps. Handmade mugs, because we are talking with a ceramic artist.
Yes.
So, that being said, let's start with that. How would you describe yourself now?
Now, okay. Well, I started clay in 1999, so it's been a while. And I started out doing the standard stuff: mugs, plates, cups, vases, you name it, and thrown on the potter's wheel, and I loved it. But I've always sort of had an interest in sculpture, and I would do that kind of on the side, just every once in a while, here and there. And then in 2008, my mother passed away, and at that point, I stopped doing all things creative for about 3 or 4 months. I just needed some time off, and it was right at that time that we also became first-time parents, and our plate was pretty full. So when I did finally come back to clay, I dropped all the functional pottery and I went for sculpture. It was an art therapy thing for sure. I needed to do something totally different. And so that's when I started really focusing on the sculpture, and I never looked back.
Now, your sculpture has changed a lot over the years. I mean,
sure.
It used to be, it's gone through a lot of phases, but
Yes.
it used to really incorporate little birds, and then it sort of morphed from that. Can you sort of talk about how it went from, why it started where it did and how it developed from there, and what all the meaning was of that to you?
Oh, sure, I can. How long do we have
Yeah,
here?
right.
Because that's going to be kind of long.
Let's see. The timer's running.
Okay.
We may have to reset the cameras once we get there.
Let me give you the Reader's Digest version. So the birds came out as it was very much an art therapy thing. I just sat down, I turned off my brain, and I just let whatever happened happen. And my hands started making birds, and I realized that my mom loved birds, and that she had actually made a little ceramic bird for me. And I guess that was probably where that came in.
I didn't know about the ceramic bird.
Yeah, she had
made
made a little bird for me for one of my sculptures, because I didn't think that I could make a bird, and so she made it for me, and so that was probably part of it. And it started out as a way to fly away, from the problems, and fly away from the grief, and then I realized that I could put a little more personality into the birds, and it could be a mama bird protecting her baby bird, or something of that nature, because I was going through that whole first-time parent thing, which can be brutal. And so as I healed from the death of my mom, I got over the whole bird thing, and they still showed up from time to time, just because I do love birds. I have feeders. Right. I have feeders all over the house, as you know.
Hummingbirds, regular birds.
Yeah, all kinds of birds. So, and then I always loved faces as well. It was first, I started out with like faces with birds and, a hybrid of faces with like bird beaks all coming together. And then I kind of moved away from the bird beak thing and I just started focusing more on faces. And I've been doing faces for about 10 years, like in clay and paint.
God, has it really been 10 years?
Apparently there's still more to say because I'm not done.
Right.
So that's kind of how that started out.
But now you've also sort of morphed from sculpture, and now painting is, faces are still a huge part of your paintings.
They are, yep.
But it's now paintings, and not instead of sculpture, but, I mean, or would you say that paintings have, like, taken over?
No. I would say that it's about 50-50. But right now I'm kind of under the gun with some deadlines, so I'm focusing on painting. But I have 2 sculptures that I need to make right now. So, it's about 50-50.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and the whole painting thing came about because if you remember, we went to San Francisco when our first child was 2. So that would have made it about 2010.
Wow. 6.5 years ago?
Yeah, 2010. Yeah,
7
years ago. 7, 8 years ago. So if you remember at that time, I was doing a little bit more sketching, and I'd gotten involved with the Sketchbook Project.
Oh, that's right.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. So it was like, describe, if you would, kind of describe the Sketchbook Project thing.
If you go online and Google it, you'll get so much information. But basically, I believe it's the Brooklyn Library, I think. I would have to double check that. But you can write in, express your interest in participating, and they do it yearly. And they will send you a sketchbook, and you fill it in, and it can be however you want to do it. You can do 5 pages, or you can fill the whole thing, or you can do it with your kid, or you can do it however you want to do it. And you fill it out, and you send it in, and then it goes in the library. And it's pretty cool because they send you an email every time somebody checks it out, and you know that your sketchbook has been viewed and stuff. And that's kind of cool.
Has your sketchbook been checked out?
A handful of times.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
Not a lot, but there's
it's
a lot of sketchbooks.
It's a nationwide project, so it's like a lot of sketchbooks, right?
There's a lot of sketchbooks. So that's kind of what got me going further down the road of drawing and painting and stuff, because I did have some paints and some colors that I would use in that. And then I got tired of working in the small format. I'd filled up several art journals, and I was getting tired of the smaller format, and I was like, well, why don't I just go bigger? And that's when I started going like bigger canvases, and now they're like bigger.
Right, now it's like way
now
bigger.
It's like, how big can I get and still fit it in my car?
Right, now the only limitation is the mini.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so that's how that happened.
That's cool. And okay, so now just to give everybody a little bit of background. We've now been in Bend about going on 3 years, like we said.
Yep.
That's Bend, Oregon, the mountains of Central Oregon, which we didn't even know there were mountains in Central Oregon.
Or a desert.
I
had no
high
idea.
desert.
Yeah.
That's coming here from the coast of South Carolina, and kind of hard to imagine a bigger, staying within the continental U.S. anyway, a bigger change.
In every way, yeah.
Do you see any changes in your work, or do you feel there's any influence there, or is all the influence still kind of an internal?
I would say that for the most part, it's an internal thing, but I definitely am inspired and motivated by this landscape. I have found, sometimes I feel this like tension inside, and I'm going a little crazy. Maybe I've had a hard day at work or whatever. And I find if I just get outside and take the dog and go for a long walk, like an hour's hike or whatever, it rejuvenates me and I feel so much better. And I couldn't do that back in South Carolina because, well, first of all, you have to lube up with all the bug spray.
And then you come back like drenched with
yeah,
sweat.
and then you've lost like 5 pounds in water weight. So I do find it to be more enjoyable here.
Right.
Yeah, to get outside and clear the mind. And that's kind of my form of meditation.
Do you find that there is a bigger, or at least more accessible, I don't know, how would you describe the art scene, the art community, the artists that are here, versus Charleston?
Charleston definitely was more traditional, more conservative, and had a more established group of, successful artists.
Mm-hmm.
And it was harder to break into that group. I would say here that they are more open to new people coming into town and to joining their group. But they're also kind of scattered. Like we've got these little groups of artists around town.
Right.
We don't have like one central group.
There's
of,
like Scale House,
the
and then
Elise
there's
artists, yeah.
what's Stewart's thing?
There's Old Ironworks. Now there's going to be the 9th Street Village.
Right.
Yeah. So there's all these little pockets. But I do think that in general, that Bend is a more open environment for artists. So.
Cool. And I mean, for those of you that are watching, we have 2 girls. Our older daughter is 8.5. Our younger daughter is 5.5. Is that right?
Yep, 5.5.
And if you have kids, you know how hard that can be. If you don't have kids, just take my word for it. It can be really hard to get anything done, much less be creative and artistic. And now, I mean, you're now 1.5 years, going on 2 years actually, into your co-working space that you partnered up with some other artists to create. We've talked a bit about how that has helped you integrate with the artistic community here in Bend.
Totally.
But it seems to you that has been key to maintaining your artistic life separate from home and kids and all that.
Well, I would say for anyone out there who is thinking about moving to a new town, there is no better way to get involved and to get to know people than to open your own business. Opening the co-working space, the Wilds, forced us to get out and talk to people, because we had the Kickstarter. So that forced us to go out and talk to people and say, hey, this is what we're doing, it's a cool thing, give us money, So, I got over my fear of talking to people and telling them what I was doing, because I've always been a little bit kind of quiet about what I'm working on. But you can't do that when you're opening your own business. You got to be a little bit more bold, and you got to be a little bit more brave. So moving here and opening this business definitely has opened up some doors for some opportunities. Sure, I could have worked in the garage, but I wouldn't know anybody.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, this way you've gotten involved with, Bend Film, and I've gotten involved with various different things around town. Like that big mural that we did over at Immersion Brewing, I wouldn't have gotten, without this. Did that fun fundraiser for Base Camp, that.
Was that the big painting?
Yep, the big 5x7 painting that
it was
the team.
8 of you. How many people?
It was 5 people.
5 people worked on that?
Yeah.
But
So
there
nice
were 15
collaboration.
paintings.
How
of
many
5.
did we have? I think we had 7 different groups. 6 or 7 different groups. So 30 different artists, working on different paintings. So that was a fun thing, to work on a team like that. And and we've gotten a lot of press. I've had some great opportunities with your magazines. Met some really amazing writers. Photographers, not just you, but.
Excuse me. What do you mean, other amazing photographers?
But in general, I would say that opening the Wilds has been the best thing as far as moving us forward in the community and getting to know people.
So we've talked about kind of what Bend and opening your own business in Bend has been like. All right, so what's next? What's the next?
Wow, that's the hard question. That's the hard question.
First of all, about the time you start getting really successful with any one style of art is when you radically change everything. So I'm not even going to ask about what's next with your artwork.
I know.
Because
that's my history with the clay. For you guys who don't know me, the history with clay is I'll make a body of work and it becomes super successful, and then I'm like, hey, I'm tired of doing that stuff. I'm not going to do it anymore. Charlie's always
about the time it starts making money.
Charlie always gives me grief about that, so whatever. Future, okay, I don't know. If I had a good plan, I would share it with you. But basically, the big picture is that I'm ready to spread out a little bit. I'd like to check out the markets in Seattle and Portland a little bit, and not so much with the co-working space. I think that our co-working space is going to stay local in Bend. So when I talk about going to Seattle and Portland, I mean with the artwork, my own
Right,
personal
like with
stuff.
your artwork.
With my artwork,
Like
yeah.
getting into galleries or something?
I would love to establish a really good relationship with a gallery. I'm not looking to be in 30 different galleries. I would rather find 2 or 3 really good ones that I can really establish a good rapport with. And locally, I've been doing really well with some exhibitions thanks to an art consultant that I've been hooked up with.
Cool.
And that has been going great. She is amazing. But I'm ready to go a little further. And San Francisco would be great. We've always loved San Francisco.
Right.
You know, hop on a flight and head on down. Yeah.
Like Portland is probably
I think Portland
first step.
I think Portland's easier because I can drive it there.
Well, no, I think back
can
to
drive artwork.
years ago when we were looking at moving out here, talking to gallery owners in Portland, and they looked at your work online and were like, "Oh yeah, your work would go really well here."
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to really spend time establishing that gallery
So maybe
connection.
that's. Do you think, like right now, your sculpture, when you're doing sculpture, it has sort of morphed into these like human-animal hybrid forms? Is that? Do you still feel that urge? Is that going to continue, or?
Yeah, I'm still down with doing that. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I feel like there's still a lot that I can say with that.
Cool.
But I want to make sure that the paintings tie into the sculpture, that they kind of work as a single body, you know, so it looks like the same artist did that work rather than having 2 different, you know, bodies of work.
Right.
I would rather it look more similar.
So it's still a unified body of work with thematically and structurally and all that stuff.
I mean, the one thing that really lends itself to it is I do, you know, the post-fired finishes, aka paint,
Right.
you know, on a sculpture. So it's nice that I can, you know, use the techniques in the paint and put it on the clay. So that's pretty handy.
Cool.
That I can bring that, you know, back and forth.
Sweet. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there, unless there's anything else you want to.
No, it's probably a good time before the kids come barging
Yeah.
in.
Right.
Oh, I just heard a door,
Mom,
so
Dad,
so it's probably a good time. Yeah. Sweet.
So, that wraps up our first conversation. This is going to be an ongoing series, so Kelly will be the person we kick everything off with. If you view this online, if you view it on YouTube or whatever, please, I would ask that you go to charliethiel.com, or you can also find it charlietonline.com, and leave a comment. And what we'll do from the comment section is pick a random person maybe and send them a book or send them a little gift to say thanks for checking in.
Oh, that'd be
But
nice.
that will only be based on comments on my blog, so we'll pick the winners from there. And
no trolls, by the way. You can't
yeah,
be
no,
leaving,
feel
like,
free, and
hate
I'll
comments
just delete them, and you know, then you can work out your issues
somewhere else. Yeah.
But thanks for checking in, and hopefully we'll see you back soon.
All right. Good. Thanks.